I've actually done my homework this time.
Have you? That's good. That's good because it's important for
Because he
this one.
hasn't.
Well, I've a bit. Yeah. Just had a bit of a weekend, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I want to look up one thing while we're talking.
Yeah, who's on the shit list for this season?
Carry on.
Okay. Welcome to Planet Marzipan Podcast,
Your Fish and Marillion podcast.
where we talk about all things in the planet of Marillion and fish. I'm Mezza, and here's my mate.
Craig Houston.
Hello, and welcome to Planet Marzipan. I am Mezza, and I am here with my good friend,
Craig.
and we have a special guest. Joining us this evening, we have Lucy Jordache,
Who?
Ian's wife.
Thank you.
You're going to get a kick.
Anyway, it's the shortest episode ever.
Yeah,
No.
bye.
Lucy's joining us to talk about the road to Anoraknophobia and when she first started working with the band. And
Because
she's
we're
promised
doing
that
it.
she's done some research.
I have. I've done my homework this time, listeners. You'll be
Oh.
very pleased to hear. I won't go, oh, did we? Well, I might, but not as often as I normally do.
Well, I'm sure you've told this story a lot of times before, but how did you first get involved in working for the band?
What, in my actual job that I actually do now?
That will be the one, yes.
That'll be the one. Well, I was working at EMI Records, who was their record company, and I was working in where was I working? I was working in the trade marketing department, which is as boring as it sounds. And I heard that the catalogue department were putting together a best. They wanted to do a best of Marillion. So I went upstairs 2 floors and knocked on the catalogue director's office and said, hello, my name's Lucy Jordache and I am an absolutely huge Marillion fan. And I work downstairs in trade marketing and I feel you ought to let me handle this project. Thank you very much. And they did, because as has always been, with Marillion, there wasn't anyone else really interested. And so they went, oh yeah, let her do it. And that's how I first met them, because I decided that I really wanted to get the artist involved, rather than just going ahead and doing what I thought was best. And then I got a full-time job. I did such a good job that was the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Compilation, and the catalogue department was so happy that they then offered me a job as a catalogue marketing manager. Hooray! So I got to work with loads of the back catalogue artists. So I was working with Deep Purple and David Bowie and loads of people like that. But I did all the Marillion remasters, and then I'd been doing that for a few years, and then they said, will you come and work with us? And I said, yeah, doing what? Well, doing what? And they said, don't know, we're going to make it up as we go along, but we really want you to work with us. And I'd been commuting into London by that point for 11 years, and I wanted to do something different. And from working with all the artists that I'd worked with, I was kind of interested in the management side of it, or just the live side of it,
Yeah.
So I started working for them as what was my title? Communications manager was the title they gave me when I started working with them. And then within about 6 months, they'd fired their agent, their promoter, everyone who was taking a percentage off them, and said, could you do it? And I went, well, yeah, but I don't really know how to book a gig. And they went, you'll work it out. You're clever. So I then phoned all the managers that I knew, Deep Purple's manager, Bowie's manager, all these different people. I said, I need a crash course. Can you give me some advice? And da 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 da. Da. And that's how it started.
And they're still adding to the job description now, aren't they?
Yes. No, I add the things myself now.
Oh, okay.
So you're definitely thrown into the deep end, though.
Yeah, but looking back in those days, it was a lot less stressful than it is now because I didn't feel that there was the weight of the whole thing on my shoulders.
Yeah.
But
just looking at the things that you did together with them in the first year, it looks like a really exciting time where you were just throwing ideas out there and sticking.
yeah,
Really.
exactly. I sort of said to them, if I'm going to come and do this, I want to try some things. Some won't work, some will. Can we just... And what I really liked and have always liked about this band is that they're not afraid to try things and that they might fail, but they don't care that it might fail. They're just like, yeah, let's give that a go. And I love that because then you can sort of run with anything. I suppose you want to talk about it chronologically, but there was a few ideas with the Anoraknophobia campaign. So
you got the database from the .com CDs, hadn't you?
Yeah, the band had already done that. That was nothing to do with me, obviously.
But you had that database at your disposal, presumably.
Yeah, well, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. If we're talking about Anoraknophobia per se, which I suppose we should really, that was, I'm pretty sure, I'm happy to be proved wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was Mark Kelly's idea to do a pre-order. And I sat there and I said, I think that's a great idea, but I also think it needs to be in retail. Seeing as I've only just left EMI, I know everybody there. Shall I go to them and say, look, this is what we want to do. We want to do this pre-order, but then we want you to sell the rest, as it were. And so I went back to my old boss and he said, in catalogue marketing, even though it was a new album, I went back to the catalogue marketing because I knew all the people, and I went back to my old boss and said, what do you reckon? And he said, well, I don't see why not. And so they made us an offer, a monetary offer. It was a great offer, and said that I would be able to oversee everything to do with the marketing campaign that they wanted to do. And the band were really happy with that because they knew that I had their backs when I was at EMI, so I would certainly have their backs when I wasn't. And so then it was putting it all together from that. And we ended up with, what, 12,500 people? Yeah, pre-ordering.
So the idea behind that was to cover the recording costs, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, to cover the recording costs and have a guaranteed sum of money to sort of pay for things. That you don't know. But to cover the recording costs. And the recording costs, it's the same now. It's that we rent the Racquet Club studio. I wish they'd bought a studio all those years ago rather than rent.
Yeah.
But, it's too late now.
It's a big capital investment, though.
Yeah. But the annoying thing is when they look back, they go, God, we could have afforded it, but we just didn't think about it. Anyway, so they rent, the recording cost is rental, paying like my wages, their wages, because they get wages every month.
Yeah.
That's how they work. They can't just wait for a tour or a album. I mean, if they're waiting for an album, they're going to get paid every 5 years. That's not going to work.
It might get a bit quicker, though.
Yeah. A new album every 2 months. Yeah, can you imagine? So it paid for that. And then, the money that came in when it went to retail was obviously the record royalties. So they all got that divided up between them, which is jolly nice.
Yeah. So that was the campaign edition, which I believe from reading John Collins' book, Mark Kelly sort of used the blueprint of the tour fund, the American tour
Yes.
fund, and then you sent the e-web to all the fans that were on the database saying, how would you fancy paying for the album up front? You'll get
And
a
it was a
special,
whole year.
yeah,
It was
special
a whole
edition with your names in it
yeah,
and a bonus disc that won't be in the retail.
exactly. And when we did that that was 2000.
Yeah.
That was 2000. I started work on March the 27th, 2000, and I think we sent that email in September or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
2000. I didn't do my research good enough, did I?
It's better than I've got. It's more than
we,
I've got, Lucy.
we sent it sometime in 2000, and it was revolutionary because nobody had done it.
No.
Or nobody had done it that way, for sure. And at that point, it didn't have a title. Not even sure it particularly had songs. Can't really remember, but we were gobsmacked at the
Tell you what, I've just got my copy out, and it's got my letter from Racket Records, and it's dated the 18th of July 2000. It says, "Dear John, we are writing to inform you that we have received your pre-order and payment for the next Marillion studio album on the 17th of July 2000. So,
wow, so I hadn't been working with them very long at all.
No, it was a really quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Maybe they had that idea up their sleeve, and that's why they employed me to use and abuse me.
Well, it worked.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
So how soon? I was going to say how soon on did the plan for the album take? How long did it actually take to start getting from the idea to the germination to the e-web? It must have been fairly quick, because if you only joined in the March.
Yeah, it was literally. It was a conversation we had very soon after I joined. It's like, right, what's happening with an album? You're going to go into the studio and write one soon. And they're like, yes. And it's like, okay, well, we've got to how are we going to do this? And that's when Mark Kelly said about, let's do it like the tour fund. And then it all just started spiraling from there, really.
So was Dave Meagan on board by then? And after was we added later on? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Was this letter that is signed by Eric? So Eric Nielsen was still part of the setup then at that point, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So were you working closely with Eric?
Yeah. Eric was running, as I said, I'd been employed to be communications manager, whatever that meant.
Yeah.
And Eric was still in charge of Racket Records and the mail outs and stuff.
Back in the kebab van days.
Back in the kebab van days, sure.
So the album itself, it says it's got a tentative release date of March in here.
When did it come out? Come on.
I don't know. That's why I'm not saying. When did it come out, Craig?
I think it was May, wasn't it?
Well, blimey.
It was April.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was quick. I'm just trying to find. There was an article in. I'm just reading it here. It was called Sound on Sound.
Oh, yeah.
Magazine, and it was an article done by I think his name was Big George.
Weirdly, this T-shirt I'm wearing is sponsored by Sound on Sound.
Oh, that's freaky.
That's freaky, yeah.
And it's right. It's
So yeah, it was the 7th of May. It was released to retail, and I think we actually got our copies through the post just before it came out.
I think we did, yeah.
So I think we got an April.
Yeah, that's what we tried to do, to get everyone their copies before. They were £16.
Yeah.
I'm just reading the.
So just from this letter, it says a tentative release date of March 2001 is planned. However, we guarantee that your CD will ship before the release date. Complete updates, including track listing, artwork, sound clips, and the release date, will be posted to Marillion.com. and all official web publications as they become available. Residents of the UK may also ring the web hotline on 0891 299 775 for
It was still
up-to-date
a thing.
information.
Oh, how cute.
Calls to this number will be 60p a minute.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
That's how they afforded you.
Yeah, that's how the wages were paid. 60p a minute? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, talk fast.
So I can't remember the timeline particularly of that, but we also did the, after the album came out, we did the Anoraknophobia remix
Yes.
test. I'm pretty sure that was Eric's idea, where the fans could buy the stems of the song and remix. And I'm sure we did a little remix competition where some people could win like 500 quid or something if we liked their remix. I'm sure I read that earlier somewhere in our... Oh, yes. An album of the best remixes will be released, and the lucky dozen or so remixers will receive £500. And more importantly, the opportunity to have their own artistically pure, full-blown reworking heard by the world.
Yeah.
Remixamatosis.
Remixamatosis. Yeah.
Remixamatosis. It was £10 a stem or £60 for all 9.
Yeah.
God, I think we should do that again. Don't you?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. People now are remixing more than ever, aren't they? And have all the kit at home.
Well, I mean, that was 24 years ago, and people were, there wouldn't have been as many people doing it.
No.
That could be fun. I don't think I've played the Remixamatosis album in a very long time.
I'm the same, not for a long time.
No.
Maybe give that a listen, but it's just a bit of fun. And if you don't like remixes and stuff, well, don't buy it.
Well, there's some good ones on it. From memory. So
Yeah.
where does the university tour fit into the sort of?
Well, that was
Fine.
another idea, that I had, that the band were insisting that there had to be another. They didn't get played on radio, and they didn't get media coverage and stuff. So was there a way to get to the youth, as it were? And so I said, well, why don't you do a tour of universities? And again, I can't remember, but I'm sure it was like we did buy one, get one free on the tickets or something to encourage people, and we kept the price really low.
Yeah, they were really cheap tickets, yeah.
The crash course was priced at £1 so that students could afford to buy it.
Yeah, it didn't work, the university tour. It didn't work.
Well, it drove all those old fans into university campuses, didn't it? Really?
Yeah, it didn't work, but we didn't lose money. We didn't make any money. Didn't lose any money, which is... I think I've said this to you before. I don't mind trying anything or doing anything as long as we don't lose money.
Yeah.
It would be obviously perfect to make money, but sometimes you have to speculate to accumulate.
Yeah.
And, we really did try, and it didn't work, really. We just had the old fans going to universities, as you say, but nothing ventured, nothing gained.
No, and it's set up because the first edition of the crash course has got 3 dates listed in it for the main tour. So obviously the university tour was leading into the regular sort of dates of, it's got Manchester Academy, Wolves Civic and London Forum at the end of May. So it was kind of promoting that.
Yeah, we were still holding on to our tour agent then, and he organised those and I helped promote them. And then when it was after that tour when the band got rid of him, because it was like, why are we giving him 10%? Lucy can do it. Whatever. I was like, the Anoraknophobia tour is the one and only time I've been on a tour bus for the tour. I did the whole 3 weeks and hated every minute of being on that tour bus, but I really, really learnt in those 3 weeks the other side you know, because when I was at EMI Records, yeah, I went to a lot of gigs of my artists, but I just turned up at the gigs. So I didn't see how they were put together or anything behind the scenes. So that 3 weeks was really good for me to have a really good crash course. And I took the opportunity to talk to every single promoter in Europe and the UK, and the venue owners and stuff, so I could learn. Because to be honest, I saw it coming that they were going to fire their agent because
Yeah.
they were in a place that they just didn't want to give percentages to people. I mean, you know, I'm very unique in the management world. They don't give me a percentage. I get a wage,
Yeah.
which I think is fair, actually. Because, you know, they if they were giving me a percentage, traditional managers, they take 20% of the gross, no, the net, whichever one it is, you know, the one before the bill's taken off. I always get those two confused.
The gross, yeah.
The gross.
Yeah.
And they take 20% of the gross, and that's when the band can end up making a loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they take it off the top, yeah.
And they take it off the top, and you know, historically they look back at all their tours, you know, Clutching at Straws, massive tour, and Brave, massive tour, or whatever, and they look back and they go, how did we make a loss?
Yeah.
Because they were giving percentages to everyone. They were doing all their merchandise with bravado and giving them 25, not 25%. They were taking a lump sum from bravado at the beginning of the tour and go, yeah, we've been given 100 grand or whatever. And then they find out the tour made 300 grand in merch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
It seems to me from the outside that when the Castle deal ended and other labels were putting deals on the table, that's the point where the scales fell from their eyes and thought, why are we paying these people to do this? We can do this ourselves.
thank you. That's exactly, yeah, you've triggered a memory in my brain. When I started working for them, there were deals on the table. And that's when we sat down and had the conversation. Look, this is what Castle, Eagle, whatever they were called, have offered. Think Snapper and K-Scape, whatever, were in the mix. And that's when Mark Kelly said, fuck it, we should do it ourselves. And the brainstorming turned into to Anoraknophobia. It was like, it was the beginning of, let's do it, everything ourselves, which is funny because we've gone back to having a promoter in the UK. You know, we used Kilimanjaro 24 years later, but it was the only way we could get the Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah. Yeah. And also the venues have gone up a level through Kilimanjaro. You've got access to presumably venues that you couldn't get to before.
Exactly. I would write or phone venues and say, hi, you know, can I book in for Marillion? Oh no, we only deal with agents.
Yeah.
And we don't know who you are and we don't care, you know, and so it was the only way. So we're working with Kilimanjaro now, but the thing is, we don't work on a percentage with them. Well, we do, but it's a percentage split, rather than they take a, you know, percentage whatever.
Yeah.
And I negotiate absolutely to the nth degree, and nothing will get past. Whereas I think, no disrespect, but in the older days, it was just like, oh look, they've offered us, you know, 100 grand for this gig, let's do it. Without looking at oh yeah, but the expenses are actually 90 grand, so we'll end up with 10. Oh, and then the manager's going to take 20%, and oh, okay, so we're going to earn 8 grand for a gig, which sounds like a lot of money, but
not really, no. Yeah.
Not between 5 people who are still running a business, have to pay overheads like the Racket Club, electricity, gas, and water like everybody else does, council tax, council rates. Shall I carry on?
No. Well, I get the message.
Yeah, but there was a time where round about, was it? I don't know whether that was Anorak or was on the end of Anorak to the start of Marbles, where Racket were your own ticketing agency, where you actually sold the tickets directly yourselves and posted them out rather than going through the ticketing agencies.
Yeah, we had no more publishing, no more management, and no more promotions.
Yeah.
No more, as KNOW, but pronounced no more. And yeah, we did it again. It was let's try and do it all ourselves. And then it gets to a point where it's too big. It's like the pre-order. Anoraknophobia, we packaged those CDs and posted them ourselves in-house. And then we realised that it was too much and it was too big. And that's why for marbles, we outsourced it. And guess what? They fucked it up. So for somewhere else, we were like, oh, let's use Townsend Music. Guess what? They fucked it up. And then Happiness is the Road we used, I can't even remember, but they fucked it up. And it's like, and then it was Pledge Music.
Yeah. That didn't go well, no.
Really fucked it up.
Yeah.
So last time, for an hour before it started, we'd been convinced that Townsend Music would be great fit for us. We gave them another chance. We weren't happy. So we've gone back to square one, and for the new album that will come out next year, please, God, we're going to do it all ourselves. And we literally are going to hire a warehouse, and we literally are going to hire people, and Rich and whoever are going to stand there and count every single thing and post every single thing, because then if it's fucked up, it's our fault.
Yeah.
Rather than somebody else. It's too precious to put it into somebody else's hands.
That's coming through from what you're saying, you know. They've taken control of things. They trust you because you look at the finer detail, whereas previous management might have said, okay, we'll get 100 grand if we do this, but you'll actually go through line by line and work out what it means to them and give them the whole picture so they can make an informed decision.
Yeah. Or they don't make as many decisions as they used to.
Yeah.
They still do work as a team, for sure, but they don't make as many full decisions as they used to. They trust me enough, I hope, after 24 years.
I think you've built up that, yeah, absolutely.
To make quite a lot of the decisions myself. But obviously it's their art, it's their business. They want to have a say, so we decide it together. There's only once in my whole time of working with the band where they've overruled me, which was that stupid thing we did with Happiness is the Road, where we gave it to the streaming download.
Yeah.
The torrent files, yeah.
Yeah. I was totally and utterly against that from day one. And it went, I know it was in our ethos of, well, you don't know until you try, but I just knew it wouldn't work.
It didn't go down well with the fans either who'd pre-ordered.
I knew it wouldn't go down with the fans. No. I knew it wouldn't work. I didn't want to do anything to encourage illegal download sites. I hate it more than anything in the world when people steal music, steal films. I don't care if you can't afford it, don't have it. There's loads of things I can't afford and I don't have. I'm sorry, John. You're viewers, John is laughing at me.
I'm laughing at how direct you're being about it. That's,
I hate it. Don't steal. You can't afford it.
I'm not condoning stealing. I get it, but I'm a collector and I know, that is complete. You put something out and I can't get it, it drives me up the wall. But I don't steal it.
Yeah. Could you just hang on 2 secs? Sorry.
Go for it.
Ian, the dishwasher's beeping. Oh, right, just check.
Got to leave that in.
The dishwasher's beeping and Ian can't hear high-pitched noises anymore.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because he's just zoned out the upper edge.
You need a light. You need a light in the living room when it's beeping.
No, it's beeping because we think there's something wrong with it. We left this plastic thing on top of it the other day and it melted it. So it's obviously getting really, really hot. Ooh. So because it was just beeping, I thought, Jesus, somebody better go and have a look at it. Anyway, so that was the only time I think overruled. And, I said to the band, and, I'll say it to anyone listening, because I believe in everything we do, I can give it 100%. usually 110.
Yeah.
I said to the band, I will do my job, but only to a certain level on this, because it'll show. It's like it's known I can't play poker. I have no poker face. With me, what you see is what you get. I wear my
Yeah.
heart on my sleeve. So I cannot be passionate about something I'm not passionate about. And I was not passionate about that at all. And when it did have the reaction that it did get and didn't do the job that they wanted it to do, it was really hard not to say, I told you so.
I was going to say you must have said that at some point.
I didn't.
He's
You
got a
really wanted
t-shirt.
to, though. Yeah.
His t-shirt.
I told you so. But that's the only time. And I think that was probably Eric and Mark Kelly, who were really pushing that because they were really techie nerdy. And the rest of the band and me were just like, we don't use these frigging sites, but the band were like, yeah, it's worth a try. And I was like, no.
Well, you've done it and confined it to the doesn't work pile. You move on, don't you? But before we were recording, Craig and I were talking about, because when you started in 2000 was kind of just before, well, no, maybe the start of the internet and being more connected with the fans. But I think you went round the country, didn't you, and met with groups of fans?
Yes, I did. That was another thing. Yeah, I was like, I came in. I'd obviously been talking to all the fans in the 90s on the Freaks list. What were those called, those groups? Whatever those chat groups were called on the internet back then. So I'd been talking to Marillion fans and I knew that they were out there, and I had met loads of Marillion fans. There was the Cambridge Freaks and they'd invited me up to Cambridge to meet them all. And I had a lovely afternoon punting on the cam, meeting like 10 or 20 Marillion fans who lived in Cambridge who all loved Marillion. It's how I met my best friend George through the Freaks list. I knew that there was little communities and that this internet thing had the potential for bringing people together. And so because Facebook didn't exist, I did it on the Freaks list. I did it on little groups like that online and said, hi, I'm Marillion's communications manager.
Did you have a badge?
And they said, yeah.
That title needs a badge.
And they said, what the fuck does that mean? And I said, I don't know. And as soon as I can, I'm going to change it to manager, but that's another story. And I just got in my car and drove around the country and met people in Bristol. Did I come up to Newcastle?
Yes, you did. And David Dobby, he reminded us that at the end of the evening, we walked you back to your hotel. We're having a drink till silly o'clock in the morning in the bar, drinking.
And that was the first time I'd met you, was it?
I think we'd actually met beforehand. at a gig.
I went around the country doing that, and it was lovely because a lot of people, again, that turned up made friends with each other because they were like, bloody hell, I didn't know there was another Marillion fan living in York or Manchester, and it was like, oh, be my friend forever. So friendships started coming out, and I knew all that, and that's when, I went to the band and I said, we need to get all these people together. And Andy Rotherham has told me about something that the Stranglers have done, which was a Stranglers weekend at Fontins. And I think it's something we should do. And they were very, very hesitant. And there's the infamous thing of, remember Blue Peter, where they filled in the chart with the church?
Yeah, the toad thing. Yeah.
We had one of those on my wall in my office. And when we reached 1,000, Mark Kelly was supposed to eat a bowl of tripe because he didn't think we'd even make 1,000 ticket sales. And, we sold out 1,600 tickets at Pontins, and the rest is history for our first Marillion weekend. But I knew that Marillion had already started, years ago, 1980, with fish and stuff. They had started bringing people together, and the Marillion had been really good at doing it with getting all the it's bin day tomorrow. Ian's taking the bins out. Did you just hear that roll past? Oh, I just thought, what's that noise? And Ian's just come out with the bins. What was I saying? Oh, and so they'd started that, and then with Marillion.com, they'd been very clever in getting all the fans to send in their pictures. They'd already started forging that community, and they had all those email addresses, and they're very clever. And I just knew, I'd spent all of the 90s and 80s going to Marillion gigs either on my own or with someone I dragged along. And then when I went to college, I met two people who liked Marillion, and we used to go to gigs together, and it was so exciting. And I just knew that there was a path, and I think it's one of the best things about bringing people together. I think it's a great thing. Yes, you end up, as we've said before, with some total wankers because it's a family. It's a family, and it'll always have the bad sheep in it. And there's some people you just never want to see again as long as you can. But the majority of Marillion fans are people with big hearts and joyous.
Yeah. I think that time period from like 2000, 2001, 2002 was possibly one of the most exciting times to be a fan, because there was so much happening with I don't think everybody didn't really know what was going to happen after .com when we knew the record deal was over. We knew the tours seemed to be getting smaller and smaller. Everything seemed to be kind of contracting. Then round about 2000, it all changed. There was a whole new feeling of everything. There was a new positivity. I mean, you can see with with what happened, like the releases and things. Then there was the launch of the Front Row Club, and you had
that was Eric's idea. That was a brilliant idea.
Yeah. Then you had the crash course with the university tour, where as a great marketing thing to get people who've never heard the band to buy a CD for £1, but also the first one had 21st Century on, which was the first. Yeah, it was the first time we'd actually heard a song from Anorak on a release.
Well, it was, and I remember Lucy being really, really positive about it online as well, about that track.
Oh, I love that track.
Yeah,
I love that track. The one of my outstanding memories, two outstanding memories from the Anoraknophobia campaign, was the photo shoot with Jill Furmanovsky, where they're all dressed up in the anoraks looking like geeks. I found hysterical, because up until that point, they hadn't been serious, but I felt they were much more muso. Do you know what I mean? Oh, no. Yeah. And then it was like, they said, it was probably H, had the idea and said, let's all dress up like this. And they went, yay. And that's when I started seeing the humorous side of them, and the we don't give a fuck what people think side of them. And I really liked it. And then the other one was I had the idea to do for the single Between You and Me, do the buy one, get one. Thank you. He's holding it up to the screen.
And
buy one, get one. Yeah, buy one, get one free, so that we could encourage fans to send it to radio stations and da-da-da-da-da. And then, of course, I'll recap what happened with that. That was...
released on September the 11th.
So, no, it wasn't released. We were packing it up at the Racket Club on...
Was it? I thought it was actually out on that day.
We were packing it up at the Racket Club on September the 11th, 2001. I'd actually persuaded all the band, bar H, who was driving up the motorway to Donald Camp to sing at Donald Campbell's funeral at the BBC, live on telly. And the rest of the band had agreed to come into the Racket Club and help us pack the 12,000 singles we had sold, which was 24,000 singles we had to pack. And there we were at the Racket Club packing away, when somebody rang and said, have you heard what's going on in New York? And of course, the world stopped, and it didn't matter. You know, we still carried on packing. We couldn't ship them out for a week because all flights had stopped. And quite rightly and understandably, when people got them, nobody was really enthused to send them to radio stations because the world had changed. And, you know, that's just really bad timing because I'm still convinced that would have worked. But
it would have, yeah. It was a
we've
great
never
idea.
done it again
Yeah.
since because rules have changed at radio stations. You can't just send them stuff like that. But it was a really good idea. It would have worked. Thank you to the 12,000 fans who bought it. Sorry to the world that 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
Awful day. Awful.
But there was one minor success with it because Mr. Kennedy, Mark, he sent his copy to Alan Robson at Metro Radio, and he did play it every night that week. So,
I was going to say, I was being disingenuous here. I think there was a few that got sent and a few actually that got played, but not the big push we were hoping for.
But Alan Robson's always been a Marillion fan, as it is in any case, the legend that he is. So he's always played them.
Yeah, I totally get it.
So I remember as well when Anorak came out, one thing I was actually surprised at the week that it came out is it was W.H. Smith's album of the week.
Oh, yeah.
So it actually had a lot. It had a lot of publicity and pushing there with posters all over the place, and there's Barry's all over the place in W.H. Smith's for a week.
I love the cover. I know some people don't like it, but I really like it.
Yeah, it's good.
I seem to remember some kind of lawsuit with that.
Nissan.
I think I remember some kind of lawsuit, but it got sorted out by the record company, so who cares? But I love the cover, and it's purple. I do love a purple.
What about the title then? How did the title come about? Because it's obviously more tongue-in-cheek than anything that's gone before it.
Yeah, we have no phobia about being nerds. Anoraknophobia. I don't know. Honestly, I was thinking, I knew you'd ask me that, and I was thinking about it. I should have, if it hadn't been H's birthday today, I would have rung him to actually ask him, because he would have come up with that. Because obviously it's not a song lyric or anything.
No.
But it was probably about the whole campaign, which was bucking the, you know, we may not be cool, we may not be played on the radio, but this is us. So it was, it obviously came from that kind of thought. And still relevant today. Are we going to talk about the songs?
Yeah.
Hang on, let me just get the track list in front of me. I still bloody love number 1, which was on the bonus disc. It was
on the bonus disc, yeah.
So that'll end up on the remaster deluxe edition down the line.
Oh, love that. And obviously, Map of the World. Absolutely love that. And what else do I absolutely love? Yeah, this is the 21st century. When I Meet God.
You've almost named them all.
I nearly have, haven't I, really? Yeah. And If My Heart Were a Ball, It Would Roll Uphill. And I'm going to petition for that to be played again.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been listening to it quite a lot in preparation for the next couple of episodes that we'll do cover it, because we're going to be doing some deep dive in-depths on it, including George is coming on.
Hey!
Yeah.
He's back. But yeah, so we'll be recording that soon. It'll be an absolute cracker. But I've been really, really enjoying it. It is one of my favourite albums because it just means so much for how good the time was. 2001, the tour was great. The positivity of everything. It was just a great time.
I'll go and get Ian in a minute and see if he can remember that far back and see what his memories were of everything as well.
I think it's like Craig said, there was a lot going on. You got lots of different ideas. They were on the telly, they were on airport, weren't they?
Was that then?
Yeah, around about that period,
I think that was, I can't remember how that came about. I'd like to take credit for it. And in lieu of not remembering, let me take
I
credit
think,
for it.
it was definitely
Let's
down
just
to you. Definitely, yeah.
if somebody else really knows the reason, please let us know. But I'll take credit for now.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I do watch a lot of crap TV, so it probably was, but whatever. I remember that, and it was just, they were on airport, and it was just really funny, with that girl going, "Oh, did you do badly?" And they're just, oh. But it was mainstream TV, and
Yeah.
I was going to say then, but I think now as well, you never say no to mainstream TV.
No.
And again, it was one of those nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Well, I'm sure there were people watching it who thought, "Oh, Marillion's still going."
Yeah, it was just very early in the morning, and they were very tired, if I remember rightly. And it was like, guys, the ITV. Oh no, I didn't remember it was ITV, but the film crews turned up. You got to do this, and they're like, "Do what? Just go." It was a really interesting time, and I really enjoyed it. Because, as I said, it was all a big learning experience, and it was the beginning of the opportunity just to try things, whether they worked or not, and to help Marillion carry on establishing the brands that they were already, way down the line in starting.
But it was the start of what you do. You do it now. You still do it now. We talked to Tim Sidwell, and Tim's really enthused by the amount of ideas that come out of the group working with you guys.
Oh, yeah, right, hang on, I can hear Ian. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
He's back from the bins.
Mosley, yeah. Could you just come in for a minute and just be podcasting?
Well, what's in it for me?
What's in it?
What do you want?
Is that fiver that you wanted from George?
Let's come in for a second.
Yeah, but I've been very busy.
Well, we saw you put the bins out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's bin day tomorrow. I've just told everyone. Yeah, he's coming. He's just faffing for a bit.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, I'm glad Tim thinks that, because it is really, it's a really nice feeling. For the next album, I had an idea, and I can't tell you what it is yet, but I sat the band down in the boardroom, and I said, "Okay, I've had this bonkers idea for the next album. Just let me talk you through it." And they all said, "Oh, that's brilliant. We love it." So I'm going to try this bonkers thing alongside the pre-order for the next album, and it's really nice that they give that we all give each other that space.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about the actual album Anoraknophobia.
Oh.
We're talking about all the stuff like the university tour and the very first, the Anoraknophobia was the very first pre-order and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, we decide to do uni tour.
Can you hear him?
Yeah.
So, do you have any memories of that?
Yes. I can't remember which university it was. I was sitting behind the kid thinking, what are we doing here?
Was that all of them?
Well, that's kind of what I was saying. They just said about the university tour, and I said, yeah, it was a good idea. It just didn't work, but we didn't lose any money. We just didn't make any money. So it was nothing ventured, nothing gained. And I said, that's kind of the philosophy that we had back then, and we still have now.
Yeah, we were trying to get through to some younger people, weren't we?
Yeah. And it just was full of that.
Just entice the older people onto university campuses.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember which university it was, but there was just no interest at all in us. I can't remember which one.
All of them.
No, there were some good ones.
The Durham was good fun. We did the Durham one, and that was good fun.
Durham.
Yeah.
No, too long ago.
No.
Just recap the other things, just to get Ian's brain going.
Well, obviously, obviously the album, the pre-order for the album.
Can you remember? I know it was Mark Kelly's idea to do that. Can you remember who actually called it Anoraknophobia? Was that a word that H made up?
You know, I can't remember.
Ian can't remember either.
I just remember we was all hanging around in anoraks.
We were just talking about that with the photo shoot with Jill Furmanovsky, and you were all in your shiny anoraks and glasses. And
Yeah.
I've got a picture here. Hang on, let me just show you. You looked like. Oh no, I haven't got it. Oh look, that's a terrible photo. That one.
Yeah.
That one. I'll describe that to the listeners.
Oh, it's the one where H is sort of facing the camera, and then the other guys are sort of splayed off to the side, and they're like almost like a 360 photo, isn't it?
It was kind of like a Queen thing.
Yes, a bit like the Miracle.
No,
that.
Well, wasn't that a friend of Mark's that did that?
Can't remember. You see, this is the trouble, you guys, with talking about stuff so long ago.
23 years ago. Not like yesterday.
That photo session, because that on what I've got on the wall here was on his wall, and I said I want a copy of that.
Oh, okay.
And it's
hang on, Ian's pointing to something on the wall. What does it say?
It says when your life flashes before you, make sure it's worth watching.
It's a good quote.
Yeah, that's true.
Cheerful.
Yeah.
But we were just talking about, that when you guys employed me, and they were asking how it came about, and I told them, and then I said, I don't really know why you all employed me. I don't know. I mean, maybe you can tell me what was it that you wanted me to do, because I wasn't your manager then. I was communications manager. Say it again. What was it bringing me in? What can you remember?
Well, I think it was just because of all the work you've done at EMI on our catalogue. I think everyone was really impressed with that. And then when was the first meeting? Was that at Parr Street?
What, with you? To give me the job?
Yeah.
February. I'll tell you when it was. It was a week after, 2 weeks after I had been a bone marrow donor.
Oh,
God.
For a little 5-year-old girl with leukemia that I never met. I was just on the bone marrow register, and I was a match, and I'd literally been in hospital for a week because I'd had a bit of a reaction to it.
Oh, wow.
And then the band contacted me and said they wanted to meet me. So I was like, I turned up, like, I think with a walking stick, kind of hobbling and sitting very gently in the corner of a pub in Aylesbury, outside Aylesbury, where the studio was, for them to all talk to me and say, we'd like you to come and work for us. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, this is great, but my arse really hurts.
Yeah, it was mentioned. People say, something wrong with her arse.
I had a bruise the size of her. But I did a really good thing. And
absolutely, yeah.
He must be 30 years old now.
That's brilliant.
So hooray, But
you really shouldn't do that sort of stuff because you're too delicate.
He sent me a bouquet of flowers saying, what a brave, brave girl. And I was like, that's really nice because they're Marillion and I love them. Will you come and work for it? Yes, I will.
So what tracks were on Anoraknophobia then?
Hang on, caller, I will tell you. The tracks on Anoraknophobia were Between You and Me, Quartz, Map of the World, When I Meet God, The Fruit of the Wild Rose, Separated Out, This is the 21st Century, If My Art Were a Ball, It Would Roll Uphill. That title is too long. And then number one was on the other track that was on the pre-order.
Oh, there's some good tracks on there then.
It's a corker.
It is a corker. They asked a question earlier, actually, that I didn't know. So the timeline is, close your eyes and concentrate. I started working for you on March the 27th, 2000. In July 2000, we sent out an email to everyone saying, would you like to pre-order our album? It's not done yet, but we want the money, kind of thing. And then the album came out in, did you say April 2001? Yeah. So can you remember, A, was Dave Megan already on board then? And B, had you started working on it? Like, how quickly did that album come actually together? Because I can't remember. Can you?
No, Dave Megan was on board. I'm sure he was on board because I remember 21st Century, that track. And I always thought it was about 10 minutes too long. So Dave was, no. So I remember that, but I can't remember. I must go in for some kind of therapy because, I mean, I did an interview the other day for
Marbles.
For Marbles. I couldn't remember anything. And I asked Mike, I said, Mike, can you remember something about marbles? And he said, no, I can't remember. And he was lying. But things came back to me. But Anorak, no, and Afraid of Sunlight, I don't remember recording that at all.
You know?
No. And it was one of our quickest albums.
That was quite quick, yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, I think Anorak must be quite quick as well. I think
it was quite quick. I don't remember it being, because you'd done Marillion.com in 1999.
So that was all a bit of a grey area for me, those albums when we were on indie labels.
Well, there's an interview with Mark in John Collins' book saying there was nothing left from the previous 3 albums, so you were starting Anorak from scratch. There were no song ideas left over.
Oh wow!
Which there had been for the previous Castle releases.
Well, there you go. You don't need them because look how many wonderful songs are on there.
Yeah, there are some good ones on there. I mean,
then he talks about Rothers bringing in the loops and that sort of thing, so you could jam over the loops. Does this ring any bells?
Well, Between You and Me has got the loops in it from the top right through, and up until recently, it was always a bit of a nightmare to play live. But now with technology, we've got it's a lot easier. In fact, we should probably revisit it sometime.
I think so.
It's
a
stormy numbered live.
You triggered another memory for me. Anoraknophobia, I'm pretty sure, was the last time I used to listen to the albums before they were almost finished. You know, all the fans on Facebook and stuff, they say, what's the new album sounding like, Lucy? And I say, I don't know, I'm not listening. Ian will try to play me things and I'll go, la, la, won't you? I'll go, la, 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 I'm not listening. Because I remember When I Meet God had quite different lyrics and a different kind of melody thing. And I listened to that over and over again, like to word perfect. And then, you know, the band gave me a finished copy and I'm like, what have you done? And
you ruined it.
Yeah. But in retrospect, what they did was obviously better, but I got so used to singing along and listening to how it was. So I learnt my lesson then, and I don't listen until they're way further down the track. And Ian gets quite cross with me. He's like, listen to this. It just needs, it's going to have a guitar added and it's going to have this added. And I go, no, I don't want to hear it until it's done because it freaks me out.
Yeah, you do need a lot of imagination when you listen to some of our stuff that's not, you know, that's still in the process of being formed and arranged.
Yeah, I can't do it. But yeah, no, we were just talking about how 2000, 2001 and 2002 were just exciting because we were trying things and, you know, we were talking about the Between You and Me, buy one, get one free single release that we were releasing on September the 11th, 2001. Do you remember? Yeah, and we're all packet. Were you at the Racket Club?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had Condé in as well.
Yeah, when it all kicked off.
It all kicked off.
Yeah, that was just surreal.
and just all the things like that. But we were never afraid, and still aren't afraid to try things.
No, there's loads of things I'd like to try, but nothing to do with music.
Shall I hit
Not,
him?
nothing you want to admit on air, Ian, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, well, any more questions for us?
Wasn't there a little bit? Didn't we get into a bit of trouble with that album cover?
That's what I said. I think there was a lawsuit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nissan. It was what it was.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah,
How
it was.
do you remember this?
Oh, they're full of shit, man. Yeah, it was the anti-theft that they'd had on the technology on one of the cars, and it was basically like Barry with the Anorak, because it was the coat hook, which is what people are using
The
to
coat hanger,
open
yeah.
coat hanger, to what people are using to open cars by putting it down the side of the windows.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we didn't pay. We had to pay some money, but we didn't pay it. EMI paid it.
right.
Yeah, well, right, you're not on the hook for it.
Yeah, well, see, you can remember things.
I remember that. I remember that.
You remember that because it had to do with money.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
You've got-
about music.
You got the same deal with Anorak in the UK then, hadn't you? Because there was a 2 CD racket version and then a 1 CD retail version.
Yes, well spotted. Yes, I went back to EMI and I said, hello, we've got a live album. Can we do the same thing that we sell through Racket and you sell? And they went, yes, that'll work fine. And we did that. And thank you for reminding me, because I don't know who owns the rights to that now.
I was waiting for John's follow-up question of going, can you please have it on vinyl?
Oh yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, you have to know who owns it first before you put it
I'm
on
pretty
vinyl.
I'm pretty sure
You must have licensed it, didn't you?
Anorak in the UK, I'm pretty sure, was Sanctuary
Oh,
and EMI. EMI in the UK and Sanctuary for the rest of the world. And then Sanctuary went bust, didn't they? So that would have reverted to us.
I kind of lost track of all the American labels, really. I mean, we had the which was the label with Miles Copeland was in charge of us.
IRS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Anorak in the UK, when you released on Racket a 2 CD version.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one, but the
EMI
UK
had
one
the
is
one,
EMI
yeah.
and it's Liberty, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that they're not on any streaming site, so I'm pretty sure that I meant to double check that actually. I'm pretty sure I know where that all is, but yeah, I'll double check all that
Okay.
and get that on vinyl.
That would be lovely. That would be lovely, yes.
Yeah, I can do that with Ear Music. They love our vinyl releases.
I should go back and listen to that, to Anorak, really, just to see what it's like. I mean, I haven't listened to it for years and years, and I hadn't listened to Marbles for years either. And a couple of weeks ago, I listened to that, and I thought, oh, that's really good. How the hell did we write that? And Anorak might do the same thing.
Oh, you will enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think as a fan, yeah.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
listen to their own music, which is
No, I can understand that.
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of normal, but then they forget it.
Yeah, the only time I've probably really listened to any of the albums is just before a tour or
Yeah.
before a convention, where I need a refresher course. So I'll go back and listen to the drum parts and hear what's going on. Plus, things change when you play them live anyway. Especially in the early days when things used to fade out. Suddenly when it comes to live, it's like, oh, how are we going to finish this?
Go loud or go home.
One of these days, you're just going to stop.
Hey.
Na, 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 na. Stop! Na, 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 na.
I'll say stop again.
Literally, George and I stand there at every gig doing that. We just go, stop! And I bloody love that song as well. But
Me
it
too.
needs to
Me too.
stop.
Now, Courts, I really enjoyed Courts with Lewis, beside me doing percussion.
Yeah.
For me, it just gave it another dimension, really, rhythmically, because it was just great having him next to me. whacking out a rhythm.
Is it?
Yeah. No.
Can I ask a question about Lewis? And I mean it respectfully, but
Is he
is
nuts?
it? Well, there is
Yeah,
that, but is it ever the same twice?
With Lewis,
Yes.
it oh,
Hmm.
the basic stuff would always be the same.
Yeah.
You know, there'd be like a template for him that he's mapped out because he wrote everything out as well. So most of the time he had a laptop in front of him with the parts
Right.
in front of him. So, but he'd you know, with any tour, as the tour progresses, you find rooms for adding little bits and pieces, and Lewis did that a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
Yeah,
great. It's very entertaining to watch.
yeah.
Shake.
He rummaged around.
Rummage.
He had a bucket full of percussion bits and pieces, and it was making us laugh because he'd forget that he was surrounded by microphones. So in between numbers, you hear him rummaging around and all this crashing about, and then suddenly he'd appear with something, you know, in his hand and start shaking it or playing it.
He
I
does.
swear he hit a bell with a spanner in York. I swear it.
Lewis is hilarious. You know that I can't remember, it was Harry Enfield or whatever, where the guy opens the car door and all the tins and cans
Yeah,
and
yeah.
McDonald's fall out.
Yeah.
That's Lewis. Literally, he's just, and he's forever dropping things, and like you go into the dressing room and he's already got on the bus and there's all his stuff, and you go to the bus and go, Lewis, have you forgotten something? Oh yeah, you know, he's just left everything. He's like a whirlwind disaster.
But he's a really lovely bloke, he really is, and I mean, an incredibly talented percussionist.
Yeah, he's a legend, isn't he? Yeah.
He is in Portugal as well.
Is he?
He was
a judge.
He was a judge on the Pop Idol
Was
for like 3 years. So he was like the Simon Cowell of Portugal. So if you're walking down the street, people go, "Oh, it's Lewis Jordache, it's Lewis Jordache." You know?
He's a great bass player as well.
Is he?
Yeah, he played bass on Slave to the Rhythm.
Well, I know he's on Slave to Rhythm, but I thought it was percussion. I didn't realize he played bass. Wow.
Yeah, I think he did.
Is he? Surely that was was that not Trevor Horn?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay. No. I know he's on it, definitely, yeah.
Oh, he's played on everything and with everyone. You're sitting there having a conversation and he'll go, "Oh yeah, you know, when I worked with Madonna," and then you'll go, blah, 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 Michael Jackson. He'll go, "Oh yeah, Michael Jackson." Da, da, da. It's like, who have you not played with?
A couple of years ago, or about 3 years, I don't know when it was. I said, "So where are you working?" He said, "Oh, I've just done some film." He said, "What was it?" And he said, "You know, Spy Bloke." And I'm going, "I don't know who you're." James Bond. You go, "What?" You know, he just did all the James Bond stuff with Hans Zimmer.
Oh, No Time to Die, yeah.
Unbelievable.
One of the nicest humans. Oh, sorry. One of the nicest humans in the entire world. Sure, stop pinging me.
Who's pinging it?
I don't know who's pinging me. Anyway, we've probably taken up enough of their time.
No. Thank you very much. It's been lovely to speak to you both. I know it's a really busy time for you with all the prep for the weekends and everything.
Oh, yeah, no, it's nothing exciting. Sorry.
No, okay.
So it's no, you haven't won anything on the slots this week like you did.
Oh yeah.
There's no like 300 odd pound wins this time, is there not?
That was an exciting night when you were talking to them and came in and I'd won 250 quid on the.
Oh, your gambling problem.
On my gambling problem. I haven't gambled since then. So when was that? A month ago?
6 weeks ago, yeah.
So people have got a gambling problem. Well, thank you very much. I hoped I was helpful this time because I did do my homework.
You did do your homework, absolutely. Of course you were helpful, yes. But thank you for coming on, and we'd love to have you on again if you would come back and talk to us.
It would be my pleasure. Ian, would you ever talk to them again?
Never. Anytime, chaps, really.
But he won't. But it'll be the same answers, whatever album you're
That's
talking
fine.
about.
That'll be
That's
fine. Don't worry about it.
He'll go, oh, I can't really remember.
We'll just rerun the last one with different questions. It's okay.
Yeah, all the answers will be the same.
Yeah,
what
it's fine.
we need to organise is 2 band members at the same time, because then they can push each other's brains.
Yeah.
But I see that in action. One of them starts talking, the other one goes, oh yeah, but they're much better all together.
Okay.
So
That would be great.
I'll get it organised. You take care, guys.
All right.
Thank
nice
you
to
for both
speak to you
yous.
both. Take care.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Oh,
Well, that was good,
legends.
wasn't it?
That was great.
That was great. Well, look, hope you've enjoyed listening to that, guys and girls. We will be back with more Anoraknophobia next week or in the next couple of weeks, where we'll look at the album in depth.
I'm looking forward to it because, let's say, I've been really enjoying playing it back again. So it's creeping up higher in my lists.
Okay. But let us know what you think about Anoraknophobia. We'll be posting on the Facebook group, and we'd love to hear your views on the album, and we can include that in the podcast. It just goes to say good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Take care.
And stay alive.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Planet Marzipan Podcast. Please like and subscribe from whichever platform you get your podcasts from. You can contact us at planetmarzipanpodcast@gmail.com and check out Marillion.com, fishmusic.scot or fishmusic.eu for all the good stuff.